Morning traders, Paul here with GammaEdge. Today is Friday, the 17th of February. Let's get started. Pause your players here, read to the very bottom. If you agree, hit that play button. Summary for today, it's kind of a mixed picture. You can see some greens on the screen as well as some reds. Let's go through it. Short term, we do have what we call a CT, a cumulative tick continuation long. We're in day 4 of that, started back on the 13th. Our long-term model, which looks at daily and weekly moves, the CT is now newly above what we call the ribbon. So everything's got a positive slope. For those who are tracking how we backtest this, this is a new designation called TAG Combo 18. That'll mean something here in a minute. We will note, though, very much a weaker trigger day, just like yesterday. Market breadth remains good, as viewed by the 52-week new high, new lows. It continues bullish with new highs outpacing the new lows, by a good amount. So that's always a good thing to see. We do still have market participation. All of this being said, on the positive side, plus GEX, which is our strike for the largest gamma exposure on the call-dominated side, is 4,300. It's moved up from 42. When we see plus GEX move up, it's generally bullish. But we take a look at minus GEX, and we've noticed a phenomena here in 2023 where minus GEX, as we get closer to the Friday expiry, is moving up and then it vaporizes. So this is most likely due to the 0 DTE crowds. So what we've got today is we've got a new 4,000 level. It's pretty significant in magnitude. You'll see it on the last slide of the presentation. And we think after today, this will drop backwards. It'll go back to 38 or 39. They're in close contention with each other on Tuesday. So although moving up is generally a constructive thing, I also want to point out some of this is 0 DTE driven, and we do think we're going to see the complex resume its old structure. As you may surmise, we did take some damage yesterday from a structure perspective in both the PM settled as well as the AM settled. You see this quite clearly on the OTM analysis, and we'll get into that here shortly. Moneyness really matters, and that's why we are tracking the in the money and the out of money status. We do think, because of what we're seeing here, is that we're moving to a more bearish stance, and your positioning should take that into consideration. It's going to be harder to make upside progress at this point. From 0 DTE position, the folks who trade 0 DTE or 1 DTEs, I think we're going to see difficulty getting above 4,100. We may push all the way up to about 4,145. Not overly optimistic about that. 4,100 is a clear line in the sand for today on the upside. And we do think we'll see some support at 40.30 to 40.60. Play the range accordingly. If we do get above this and stretch above, we don't think we're going to get trapped above there. We actually do think going into next week, it's very, very possible we're going to see lower numbers. Taking a look at the market model by the cumulative tick, like I said, we have a new push upward. The fact that we closed higher than where we started yesterday is just a continuation day. This is what we call a TAG Combo 7. We are also continuing this what we call railroad track up pattern. This is a TAG Combo 9. We're in day 4 of that. We have no idea. This is not predictive. We have no idea if we're going to reverse and go up or if we're going to continue lower. So just be aware of that. The fact that we did cross what we call the ribbon or the historical moving averages right here does pull those slopes up. That's a new trigger day. This is TAG Combo 18. I've highlighted it in green here. The overall condition is here. What this is we've done extensive back testing with EdgeRater. We've partnered with them. We've programmed the system to take a look at this cumulative tick model. And if you were to buy bull ETFs on these different structures on these trigger days, here's how they perform. And we've been in this yellow range here for now the 4 days. If you would have taken that on those continuation days, that's where we would have ended up on each of those days on average over a large number of trades. Now we're in the green zone. And when we're in the green zone like this, it's important, very much a weaker signal, so be aware of that. And of course, if we pull back, then all bets are off. So not a substitute for risk management, not a substitute for blind going long and hoping, because hope is not a strategy. Key levels here, we are seeing the deltas move down a fairly significant amount based on the damage we took yesterday. You will note we do have a different level of expected move over here on the combo complex compared to the PM complex. Use this one for the PM complex because this is now taking into effectively the AM settled rolls off at the open this morning, as well as now the AMs have moved out into the March expiry, and that moves the expected move calculations around. These are conservative values. These are open, high, low, close expected moves. These are for the premium sellers in our Discord. And so we are thinking that if you can get premium above or below these levels, you'll probably be safe, but just be aware to play it accordingly. I did note 4,300, 4,000. We've moved up. Those are generally bullish numbers. But remember the caveats that I talked about. We want to be very careful because we think this is a zero DTE phenomena and not much else. Taking a look at the PM settled complex, this is what I was talking about. Yesterday, this was a sea of green, up and down. We had a few maybe minor out of the money speculative puts coming in. Now you can see there's far more in the deltas here. When we see something like this, caution certainly is advised. This is the transition range. Certainly want to pay attention to that. Getting above that 41.35 today most likely is not going to happen. We've got these in the money puts dominating the overhead conversation right now. If we do push higher, we don't think we're going to get much higher than this 41.35, 41.45 zone. Just be aware of that. To the downside, I've got kind of this double whammy going on, 40.50, 40.65. Just be aware of that gamma structure. Some fairly large magnitudes down here. This is due in part to the JPM end of March short call strikes that are out there. That's why you see a negative number here on the calls. They are still dominating a lot of the air in the room. They are present. They are not liquid. But just note the calls, these are in the money calls where you see green, they are starting to get dominated by out of the money puts. So the out of the money put speculators, downside speculation is alive and well and is certainly growing. Taking a look into next week, first things to note here, here's the transition range. It's not really much changed from where we were yesterday. What has changed a dramatic amount is you can see that we've got a lot of downside puts that are going to dominate. And these are just going to continue to grow in context of delta and gamma as we move forward. So if we move lower in price, the out of the money puts, which are above the yellow line, will continue to dominate the conversation and put pressure on the in the money calls that are down here. There's only a few strikes that are showing their head here for next week. So a couple things have to happen. We have to reverse and go up for the call structure to really start moving in and be supportive, or what we're going to see are calls being closed, puts being open, and the price is going to continue lower. So just be aware of that. To the upside, note the out of the money call speculators have all but vaporized all the way up through about 41.60. What that means effectively is that we're witnessing in front of us a change in sentiment, and people are voting with their money. And right now for next week, everyone is voting with their checkbooks pointed to the short side. Zero DTE today, low end, probably 40.45. Right in this particular zone is where we think we could head. You can see that the expiry for the downside on minus GEX here is the 40.50 strike. The 4100 strike to the upside also is coincident with the call open interest for the zero DTE. The magnitude that's coming off is fairly significant today, so just be aware of that. This is probably a very good read of what's going to happen today. Unlikely we're going to push anywhere near the 41.65, but that's where things get soft, but very clean. Once the dealers adjust, they may be able to absorb part of this delta. We don't think so. We think it's going to be very difficult to make progress up into this area, and as a result, we think the play is actually going to be down in this area, and we might even be bound between this lower level and transition. Looking into Monday. Monday is kind of interesting here, Tuesday, because Monday is a holiday. We've got this powerful structure that's developing down here for the Tuesday expiry. The 39.75, 39.80, 39.85 is very, very strong. It could become much more relevant as we march through time because the gamma levels will grow, especially as we approach this from above. Note that 40-30, 40-35 zone. That's important also for next week. It also has coincident you'll see here coming up in the SPX Combo Complex. Here's that 4100 again, right? So 4100 is playing a role today in the 0DTE. 4100 is playing a role on Tuesday. So be aware of that. And again, here we have that confluence. We just don't think we're going to be able to get above this this level of 4160 or so going into next week. Taking a look at the combo complex, key things to be aware of. Not as much damage as you may have thought occurred from yesterday, but it's still present. Here's that 40-30 strike. We've been watching this for a couple weeks now. Below us, the in-the-money calls are still there. They are not being dominated. This looks good. You can see that changes above 40-60. Because of that, we think we've got support, unless, of course, the folks who are in the money on their calls start thinking they're going to have to get out of these positions to start closing, or the put speculators really start to pile on. We do see this area around 40-30 as being a potential area for people to start piling into, but we do think we will see support in the short term as we drop through here. We don't envision dropping anywhere near or below 4,000 in the short term, but again, beware of that Tuesday view here at 3980 as being a potential magnet for the downside. To the upside, the call speculators have gone to the beach. They are not around. This is bearish. Again, we don't think pushing aggressively above this is going to really be possible as we go forward here. Last slide, the 4300 you can see is very, very close to the 4200. In fact, it's just a numbers game at this point. So this is the reason that it is showing the higher plus GEX level. 4,000, you can see this did grow quite a bit. This will vaporize today and will drop us back most likely to the 39 or even the 38 here. So we'll see where we're going. Line in the sand, 40-30. If we get below 40-30, we do think sentiment is going to really start pushing us south. We do see below 485 as a very contentious area. We'll get trapped between these two areas of the 40-30 and the 40-85, so just be aware of that. We have effectively given up a lot of room. We're below this major strike at 4100. We're going to have, the bears are definitely emboldened, and the bulls are not present to the upside, where the structure is weakening a tremendous amount to the upside. Just be aware of that and be ready to play it to the downside. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, comments, want to come kick the tires, go to this link right here in the upper right-hand corner. When you get to that web page, will be a pricing tab. Fill out the blanks. Come on in. 14-day free trial. All the tools turned on. Great group of traders. A lot going on there. Follow us, please, on Twitter at GammaEdges with an S. And then here on YouTube, two things. First of all, if you like today's content, let me know immediately by smashing that like button. It tells me that I'm providing content that you think is actionable. And then also subscribe, because Taylor, myself, and Michael post videos 1 to 2 a day, sometimes 3 if you're lucky. And we give you a view of what we are seeing out there in the market space. So with that, I bid you farewell. Make it a great 3-day weekend. Hope to see you in the Discord, and take care.